Hello everyone, welcome back to DCWF Point of View. So today I decided I wanted to do kind of a review on the Batman animated TV series episode 1. At least that's what I was trying to do. I tried actually filming once or twice already, and it didn't quite work as I planned. And so, doing something I don't normally do too much, I decided I'm going to turn around and film the video a little bit. Well, I'm going to try again. So my first initial attempt, I didn't like the outcome of it. That happens when you do stuff. I had never really done one of these before. I have done the opinions, just giving my opinion on something. So, and reviews and opinions are pretty much the same thing. So, I don't know if you'll call this a full-on review. I really don't. It'll be up to you how you want to determine whether or not this is really a review or not. So here you go. This is what we're going to start with. I'm going to turn around and talk about the first episode of the series of the Batman, the animated series, done in the early 2000s. So the first episode is called The Bat in the Belfry. And so it's the beginning of the series. So the whole series, the whole first episode is giving you the beginning of the storyline of the character. And so he's been Batman for 3 years. Bruce Wayne has been Batman for 3 years. And, you find out that the police don't turn around and some of the police don't really want his help, and then other police officers do. And a lot of them turn around and don't even think that he's a real character. Or he's really there. He's just an urban legend. So, yeah. So they turn around and look at him like he's a Ermine legend. Granted, now, like, the chief of police knows that he exists and they want to catch him. So either way, Bruce Wayne's been Batman for 3 years. And you have Alfred, you have 2 police officers. The one police officer is actually Bruce Wayne's, one of his best friends. Since they were kids. And Bruce, throughout the whole series, I can tell you this, at least for a while of the series, he struggles with the being Batman, being Bruce Wayne, which is normal for the storyline. And it's pretty interesting how they do it, though. Because he really is, his personality is Batman. That's his personality. But he has to pretend to be someone else when he's playing Bruce Wayne. So, as I said, he has to pretend to be someone completely different when he's Bruce Wayne. Now, personally myself, I like the series, and the first episode is a fairly decent pilot episode. See, and the first actual major villain that they bring into the series is the Joker. And then, and they did him a different design. The art from the early 2000s for a lot of the cartoons and all was pretty interesting. Watching between the art then and in the animated series and the art now in the animated series, you can actually see some of the differences. And, well, it does, like I said, the series, I thought it was a pretty good series. And the first episode, I think it does a good job of bringing the characters in. Bringing in Batman, bringing in a couple of, the two, Ellen Yin and Ethan Bennett. Does a good job bringing them in, which only one of them stays throughout the entire series. Or I say through the entire series. Stayed long enough in the series that pretty much you're into season 4 or season 5 before he's really not seen too much anymore. And now, Ellen Yin for some reason, I don't really remember them saying anything of what they did with her character. At the end of season 2, she was no longer on the show. I don't even remember them saying anything about her character anymore. So, but either case, like I said, the first episode deals with the Joker, bringing in the character. Batman, he's been fighting just crime bosses and stuff of that nature. Now, basically, he's defeated probably a good portion of the original crime boss families in Gotham, because they don't really talk about him a whole lot. He's really gotten rid of the crime bosses. So Rupert Thorne is the first one you see, or is probably the last one of the crime bosses, and he's the first character you see him going after at the very beginning of the episode. So he gets him in jail, along with, his hired thugs. Then you go to talking about the 3 years that he's been Batman for 3 years. You find out, they consider him an urban legend, but there's a couple of police officers who they're trying to keep him that way. Like the chief, he doesn't want people to realize that there really is a Batman. So he says this is an urban legend. But he knows that there is actually a Batman, and he wants the Batman captured. That's where Ethan Bennett and Ellen Yin come in. They're the team, they're tasked to catch Batman. So then you finally go through a little bit further and you get Joker in. And you see the way they design a Joker, he's a little bit like Batman actually in this case. They design him where he's really a chemist. He's really good with chemistry and all because he creates his Joker gas. But he also turns around and he's actually really good in martial arts and fighting. He goes with throwing weapons. He does a lot of kicks. He bounces off of walls. I mean, when I say bounces off the wall, I mean he jumps off the walls. He turns around and does a lot of parkour, martial arts style things like Batman, making it where him and Batman, even though Batman is a better fighter in the overall, it makes it where at times they're equals in the fight. It means Batman actually has to work a little bit more to defeat Joker because he's not the run-of-the-mill criminals like he had been dealing with. And Joker, of course, is theatrical, extremely theatrical. And Batman, of course, he's classified as very theatrical. But, he uses his costume and all to produce fear in criminals. So, pretty much that right there sums up the part of that. So, that's the first episode. They fight. They're in Arkham. they're at Arkham at first. They're fighting, and then Batman turns around and beats Joker just enough that Joker leaves Arkham because he wants to use Arkham as a hideout. That's the Joker's plan. Joker wants to use it as a hideout. And then you find out Bruce Wayne, Batman, he has a little bit better memory. They show that he has some pretty good memory techniques in the episode. He remembers exactly what Joker said during a fight while he's thinking about the Joker, trying to figure out what's his next move and finding him. And he realizes that the Joker told him the clues that he needed to find him. So then he finds him and he ends up fighting him and he stops the plan the Joker has to turn around and use his gas all over the whole city. So that right there is the episode. I'm kind of giving you a quick overview of the episode. I could go in more depth, but the truth is if you want to watch it, that's what I want you to do. I want you to watch it because it's a good episode. 20-something minutes long. I'd say just straight 20, but it never is usually just straight 20. It's about 22 to 25 minutes long. That's what the episodes equal out to. But I wanted to go with the idea that, the characters. How they design the characters. Now, granted, I don't remember who plays the voices of them. A little later on, if I continue and I do a few more episodes, or if I go a little more in depth into the TV series, then I will definitely go into that and talk a little bit more about the people's, the name. I'll give you the names of the people who played the parts because I don't actually remember that right off, and I forgot to really look at it before I did the filming. But what I'm wanting to go with, though, is the style of the characters. I think that they did a really good job on the style. It came, it was one of those things that they did in the early 2000s. And, the animation was really smooth. In my opinion, they did a good job with the fighting in the episodes. They showed Batman really being Batman. The first time you see him, all you see is a little glimpse of his cape going across the ceiling of the window, and then you see that he's inside the shadows. I mean, you don't even really see him. They have him blended into the background. And then it just turned around. It really gives you the thing of he is Batman and how he does. So I think that they did the character really, really well on that part. So, and then Joker, I think they did a good job because, they went with a lot of the normal Jokers. He can fight and all. But, so the Joker can fight, but a lot of times he doesn't fight the same way as, Batman. He doesn't really have a lot of the skills of martial arts or any kind of fighting skill in that one sense. So I think that they did a really good job with Joker in this series. They showed that he actually had some real fighting skill. He actually could stand up in a real fight with Batman. So I think it worked out really well. And then it really came down to the, mental skill then. It came down to, who was more strategic in the fighting. And that's how Batman would usually win against the Joker, was the strategy that he had. Because fighting style-wise, Batman had more knowledge of fighting styles, but the Joker was still equal enough on the fighting style that it balanced. So it made it where it was all about the strategy of how to beat him. So I think they did a really good job on that. So I think that's where I'm going to leave it, though, with the first episode. I'm not going to try and go too in depth into this, because the more in depth I go, the more episodes it encompasses. And I really wanted it about the first episode. So, and I'm not going with every character because I don't want to be sitting here for an hour talking about the one episode. But either way, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Give me a like, subscribe, feel free to comment. I know I missed some stuff, but I wanted to do this video, and I'm trying to do it a way that I'm more comfortable doing anyway. But yeah. So yeah, I'm trying to do it, a little way that, well, either way, I was trying to film this video and do it a way that turned around and fit more of how I wanted it to come out. My original way just didn't work. And yes, you're going to see my hand go across the camera every now and then. I'm sorry about that. So, either way, this is, kind of like a little bit of a review, a little bit of an opinion of the show. Personally, I think that I will, a little later on down the road, go more in depth into this. I wanted to give a little overview of the Joker and the Batman characters from the Batman, the animated series, and from the early 2000s. But I just needed it, but just a little bit. I'm not going in depth, extremely in depth right now, because as you go along, you learn more and you see more how the characters progress. Because that is the whole idea of how they did the story. It's a progressive storyline. As you go along, the story they go more in depth, they turn around and keep increasing what you find out about the characters, how they work, their skill levels. So just from the first episode, you find out the Joker's pretty decent in hand-to-hand combat. Batman is definitely proficient in it. They're both very agile characters. Gymnastics, they do parkour, basically combinations of all of that. And you find out, of course, Batman is also very strong. Well, I say very strong. He's fairly strong. They don't show his top strength in that episode. They just show that he is strong. Fairly kind of selfless, because he, risks his life, because he doesn't actually know that the one device that Joker leaves isn't isn't a bad one, isn't an explosive. He doesn't know that. He, in fact, thinks that it is, and he tries to stop it. So, pretty interesting designs for the characters, how they did them. And the police officers on the shows were pretty interesting as well. So, either way, I'm going to leave it at that. I hope everybody enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe. Feel free to comment. Like I said before in a prior video, please keep the comments clean. And feel free to give your opinion as well. You don't have to actually give it on the comments. That's not what I'm saying. And yeah, have your opinions. You're supposed to have an opinion, so don't be convinced that you're not supposed to. Either way, I hope y'all have a great day, and I will see you again later. And I may do another video on this, and I may do another one, something different later on. Have a great one, and so long.